Hi, I'm Dr. Matthew Norton, founder of People Plus Purpose, and your host on this episode of the Truth Behind Dentistry podcast. And today I'm excited to be joined by transition consultant, mentor, and speaker Philip Cole of KLAS Solutions. Phil combines 17 years of experience in the dental industry with a background in teaching, which has allowed him to assist doctors from start to finish in their career, including a simple, fair, and transparent transition. Welcome to the podcast, Philip.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I thought, well, that's great. A simple, fair, and transparent transition. Who doesn't want those things, right? That sounds like exactly, if I'm going to have a transition, it sounds exactly like what I want.
Yeah, try to make it as simple and not difficult at all. So
Yeah, good, good. Well, I've been looking forward to our conversation, and as a person, as we chatted previously, who has done a variety of different things in your career and leading into 17 years in dental, doing a variety of things. I think this should be an interesting conversation for our listeners. So, I guess just kind of the first question would be, uh, when you're talking with dentists, what would be a top concern maybe that comes up fairly repeatedly from them, and what help are they asking for?
yeah, I think that when it comes to that, it kind of depends on the age of the doctor to an extent. Those who are at the end or getting close to their retirement age, it's what's my practice worth? They're starting to ask those questions of, how can I sell my practice and stuff. So I think that's important. The middle-aged, or what I say mid-career gentlemen, of course, or ladies as well, is always kind of that. I'm struggling with my practice right now. Of course, the big thing is staffing. Trying to get that team and have a team at all times. But I would say, since COVID is over with, I think now, and most of the offices can go back to their normalcy and stuff. I would say the two big things that we get from those mid-range dentists is team and leadership. Keeping that core team happy and excited. And then I would say the other one would be we're kind of going back to I think COVID and how everything was just jumbled up so much there for a while, and now that we're back to normalcy, they're starting to see the typical no-shows, cancellations, scheduling, and their AR. We're getting a lot of calls on that, and at the end of 2022 and now 2023, really, we need help on this.
What would you say in terms of kind of an insight or maybe a tip or strategy maybe for relative to leader and team concerns or circumstances that are showing up when you wade into it a little bit and you uncover the lay of the land of how things are actually going there? What maybe are you seeing, and what's a top idea or two that you would bring?
So I would say that if you look at, like, the ADA did a study, and they showed that, and there's been other people too that have done studies, but they show that pay is not the number one reason. And I would think that I think that as dentists talk to themselves, maybe in their groups or their friends and stuff, for some reason, that always, when it comes to us, is that comment is like, these guys just, they want so much. They want to be paid so much. They're asking for so much. And that's what we're finding, is that's not truly it. When we do our practice health assessments on practices, we give surveys to all of the team members so that we ask them questions about the practice and stuff. And I would say our number one thing is what they find is the problem is team atmosphere and the attaboy, is what I call it. Just getting thanked for doing a good job, a pat on the back, a thank you, and so forth. So I think there's a misconception of what the dentists think it is, that these people are asking for money. But when we talk to them, it's they just want to be recognized, and they want a place to go work that they feel that it's fun, that it's, that there's energy there. And if they don't have that, that's the reason why they're asking for the money,
Right.
is because they're more or less telling us, listen, if I can't have a good place to work, that I'm at least going to get paid.
Right.
So a lot of times when I get doctors that say that, my hygienist just came to me for a raise, and they want $3 an hour more, I look at them and immediately say, so what's the atmosphere of your practice?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I agree with you on that. And I think that, well, for one, who said that dentists had ever learned how to be leaders of people, right?
Right.
I think it's been discussed for some time in terms of the ill-equipping in dental school for business success. But I think from my perspective, it's even worse when it comes to how do I lead people, and suddenly there's a bunch of people here, right? And also related to what you were saying, I think team members need and want certain things from leadership, from a doctor, and yet if that doctor doesn't have that to give, I mean, maybe they're not having that much fun. Maybe they're not filled up and therefore able fairly easily to offer attaboys, like you're saying. So I think it really does then come back to how, from my perspective, how can we better equip doctors to be filled and to know what's needed around them from their teams, and to have a chance of being able to provide that. Does that fit with kind of what you're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we actually have developed two things based off of that, our mentorship program, and then we have a program called Emerging Leaders, and it's just specifically meant for that, to teach the leadership to understand how to communicate. I know there's a lot of people that say personality profiling is a waste, and they don't believe in it and stuff, but for us, it's huge because it's very easy to understand that if you have somebody that's very bold and straightforward, and you have someone that's timid, those are personality profiles, right? Those are different personalities. And so if you think that you can just figure out how to get along without any help, I would say that you're wrong, or that you're unwilling to be educated. To me, it's, just through my career, how many times I've gone through all the different ones, DISC, Colby, 16 personalities, all these different ones. You learn something every time. And so it's so interesting to be able to, now I've done so many and I've been doing this for so long that it's like, as soon as I start talking to somebody, it's like, whoop, I better not act this way, or I better not be this way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. I knew I was going to like you. I mean, we're in one accord on these things, and assessments have been a passion of mine for a long time. And so, and I agree. I mean, without those insights, I mean, if you can gain those insights, why would you not want to, so that you can get a leg up on how to be more effective in delivering to people what they need, or making sure it's a right fit for a role or for that team. So,
I think the other thing is too, is it's so important to understand is when you look at all of the successful practices, no matter what, I mean, whatever you want to consider successful, right? But the ones that are just streamlined, the doctors come to the seminars and they're happy-go-lucky and blah, blah. Whenever you ask what their team, or if you talk to their team, they're always just very synergistic. They love each other. They get along. They go out and have dinners and stuff like that. And then when you see the doctors that, when's the last time he's brought in coffee or donuts for you guys? Oh, he never does that. And it's like, what's the problem? They're the ones that are always, there's complaining, or, doctors saying, I'm on my third front desk person. It's like, well, do you ever stop and think that there's got to be a reason for it, right? It's not.
I've just been unfortunate in all these selections.
Yes, exactly.
Bad luck. It's all bad luck.
Yep. And there's some that truly believe that. So
yes, I think you're right. I'm switching topics just a little bit there, back to the kind of the practice transition.
Yeah.
Interested in your take on when you're seeing it to be beneficial to begin considering something like that. Like, I've talked to people at various points in their career, and some are like, I'm basically done, and now I'm going to start to think about something. And that clearly feels too late. How soon are you finding it to be meaningful, maybe to take an assessment of things and to consider options in preparation, even if you don't feel like you're ready yet?
Yeah, I would say minimum 5 years. So from doing this for so long, one of the things that we do is we offer a lifetime valuation, and I'll tell you the two reasons for it is, one, I would say out of the last 6 or 7 transitions we've done, half of them have been because of disability. And so 1 out of every 2 dentists will be disabled or will die an early death, because in their career. So I think it's very important that people get evaluation. Now, what we have all the time, and then the other thing is once again, going back, doctors wait until they want to I want to sell my practice and I want to sell it in 12 months. But then when we get the information, their taxes, their P&Ls, and we start to figure out everything, the accounting and stuff like that is just so messed up that their cash flow is so low that it's an unsellable practice, right? So now you've put us in a pickle. You want to sell in 12 months, but I need 12 months to clean this up.
Right.
And start to show that, hey, this practice is profitable. This practice can handle the debt services and stuff. So that's one of the reasons why we went to a lifetime valuation, so that do the valuation now and we'll update it for free every 12 months or whenever you ask for it, so that you can be prepared. So that if there is, for the example that we have of one of our doctors, he went into work, and he got over the first patient in the morning, and he started having hand tremors. Came out of the clear blue. No reason why, no understanding. But by time 4 months of going to the doctors, taking all kinds of different medications, blah, blah, the hand tremors just wouldn't go away. So now we're scrambling, right, to try to, we found him an associate to keep the practice alive so it didn't lose value and stuff. But he was lucky to be in a very metropolitan area, right? But to do that, if he had the valuation already, we could snap into action right away. And the same thing is 5-10 years out, because we find also, as you see all the stats, the retirement age of dentists is going up and up. So it was just 5 years ago 71 or 69, I'm sorry, 69.8. Then it went 3 years ago, I think, was 71. Now we're looking at 2024, where the projection is not retiring until age of 73.2. As these doctors stick around longer and longer, the price of the practice, or the what they're producing, is just going down and down. You're tired. That's all. I mean, and it's nothing against the dentist. It's just, You can't tell me at 73 that you can work like you did when you were 55.
Right.
So, but when you wait until 72 to tell us that you want to retire in a year at 73, and you don't have things ready, it's very hard for me to try to convince you, hey, give me 1 good year.
Yeah.
So that's where it's really, to me, important that, and that's how I feel like we've solved it, by giving that lifetime valuation, so you don't have to worry anymore. But I understand it. If you're going with somebody else and they're saying, hey, we want $4,500 for a valuation, and it's only good for 6 months or 12 months, I get why dentists sit there and say, I'm going to wait until I get closer to retirement. Right. But I will say that $4,500 is well worth it if it means that you can clean up things and make that practice sellable.
Absolutely. I really like that idea, by the way. And I think the word transition, like transition, is different than the word retire, right? And I think we need to do more with that word, because people have transitions, and transition in the typical use of it would be transitioning in a sale, transitioning to out. But I think there's sub transitions that occur throughout a career, right? And to your point, by the time you're ready to retire, you may have gone through multiple transitions that have dropped the value of your practice, which makes you less equipped to accomplish what you were hoping to, right? So it makes perfect sense to have earlier conversations, earlier evaluation. So good work on that. I hope more people will listen to you in that regard.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's important is, like you said, the transitions. I really like how you just phrase that, because with the transitions, bringing on an associate,
Yes.
you got to know that, you got to know your numbers. You got to know what what makes up that practice, because will that associate help the practice? Will it hurt the practice in the valuation or in other aspects too? So having that and getting that precise numbers and stuff and calculating and making sure that you're making what I consider the most educated decision for the next whatever years it is of your practice is invaluable to me.
Right. Yeah. And then we could hybrid blend these topics that we've just discussed by saying, who is that associate relative to who are you in style, in strengths, and how is that going to impact the positive business contribution into this next transitional phase, right? Is that going to help? Because those things matter also.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest things that we as a transition consultant concentrate on is the philosophy and the makeup of the team, and how the two parties are going to mesh. That's just so important. It's not the dollar amounts and stuff like that. For some, I think there's a lot of broker companies out there that spend a lot of time on the price of the practice. The price of the practice isn't, when you talk to, I would say 80% of dentists out there, most of them are concerned about the price. Long as they're getting a fair price, it's what's going to happen to my practice,
right,
when the next guy takes over, the next lady takes over. And so it's important, and that's why we spend so much time on making sure we're finding you the right person.
Yeah.
Because there's right now in the world of transitions, there's all kinds of buyers out there, right? We have a ton of them. Right. We don't have very many practices. And so a lot of times I think sellers hear that and they're like, well, I'm going to be able to sell my practice soon. But do you want to just sell your practice as quick as possible? Or do you really want to put your practice in the right position, for your team, for everybody involved? Right. That's what we concentrate on. And I think that's the most important.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. It should really be a little bit more of a dating process in a sense. Am I really into this person, or am I not? Is it just purely transactional for me to have an exit strategy, or do I really continue to care about the people that I've been a part of their lives, either whether it's as patients or as team members, to your point, rather than just, I'm out of here, good luck.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I guess if that's it, then that's the only concern, then that makes me wonder about what the person was doing maybe that whole time that they were in practice anyway. I don't know.
Right. There's no doubt about it. So
wow, time goes by so fast. We've been having a riveting discussion here. Maybe as we wind down, let's look ahead just a little bit.
Okay.
And give me a thought or two on where you're seeing dentistry going. What is an area or two where you see certain changes maybe in the works, or what would you like to see happen maybe?
Well, I will say that there's two that I think are the major ones. The technology, of course, is taking over and stuff, and I think that the ability to have the 3D printing and with what's happened with the CBCTs and stuff like that is just on the verge. I think that the amount of analytics that are involved in everything. So for our phone service now with VIPs that are there's certain ones out there that can give analytics. They're telling us when a new customer is calling versus an already patient, so that you can set yourself up for success with that new patient when they call. All that kind of stuff I think is really, really important and very innovative for the new dentist. I think the other thing that's the biggest concern that I think is going to be it's going to continue to grow, and there's going to be, I think, become more and more, it goes back to that transition. The dentists that are not making sure that they're watching those numbers, the cash flow being where it's at, and keeping a very functional practice, the new age doctors that are coming out of school right now, the startups are so popular, and doing our startup program just continues to grow with that. And I think that that's because the fear is not there for the young generation, and the young generation is also willing to look, and they're educated more, I think, in all of the aspects of the business. So when it comes to marketing, marketing always has been one of those things where you've heard, hang a shingle, they'll come, right? Back in the old days. That's not the case anymore. And so for me, I think the biggest change that you're really going to start seeing is the business aspect of the practice. And we see doctors all the time asking us, will you manage the practice? I just want to be a dentist, because that business, the business of dentistry is something they don't want to do. They don't want to own the LLC. And that's going to continue to change. And I think that's where the growing concern, those who want to be attentive to the LLC per se, the business, they're going to have a tremendous amount of success. Those who are just still refusing to pay attention to that and just want to pay attention to dentistry, I think they're going to get left behind. I'm not saying they're going to fail, but I just don't. When you go to those seminars and there's 100 doctors in there, and 50 of them are just, but that guy's so successful, I wonder what he's doing. I'm telling you, it's because he's being innovative, and he's paying attention to the business. He's not just doing dentistry. That's my personal feeling on it.
Yeah. And maybe the reason that they became a dentist in the first place was not because they really had a strong eye towards wanting to be a business owner, a successful business person, as much as they wanted to do the skills of dentistry, which I believe is part of why some people are drawn to more of a DSO corporate model, to where more things are taken care of for them. But then there's many who don't want the constraints of that side of it either. So I think there's more creative middle ground places, but I agree with you that you have to have a strategy to be in the game, to know where things stand, and to be an active participant on the business side. And if it's not your major forte, then you need to partner, collaborate with somebody, I think, anyway, to kind of help in that.
Yeah, I just did a small speaking engagement. Know your numbers was the topic, and we go through all the different things of a practice. It was in just a small dental society. There was 20 doctors there, but out of the 20 doctors, there was one that was probably, I would say, knew 80% of the questions that I asked. Otherwise, the rest of them would come. It came up to me afterwards, asked questions during the seminar saying, yeah, now why is that important? Those are the kind of things I'm talking about, that you in the future, for the next 5-10 years, it's at the point where you're going to have to start knowing how many active patients you have. You have to know your break-even point. You have to, because you're not going to be able to grow to the point of other ones that are paying attention to that. And that's just something that I don't see it changing, because technology is forcing there to be that return on investment, and the scheduling and different things like that they're forcing it to be important. So,
well, this has been an informative and enjoyable conversation, and I love your insights. And I thank you for the time that you've given today to show up and share with us. And I'm trusting that everybody who's listening, watching, has received at least one key pearl that they're going to take away.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely. So for those people who say, yes, this was good, and I'd love to know more, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Best way, you can go right to our website, www.klassolutions.com. Or if they want to reach out, our 800 number is 844-552-7100.
Okay, that's great. And that's KLAS Solutions.
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah, just want to make sure. People could,
Yeah,
especially,
no, I agree. I
especially
forget.
since,
I forget about it.
yeah, especially since they heard that you were an educator, right? They could take class. It would be like a classroom. So no, so it's KLAS Solutions. Yeah.
Correct.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. And for everybody who has been with us and stuck to the end, this is Matthew Norton of People Plus Purpose. You have been watching the Truth Behind Dentistry podcast with our guest today, Phil Cole of KLAS Solutions. I hope you'll reach out to him, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you.